What's up, you guys? Welcome back again to the Crest of Courage card game channel. Today, I've got this awesome black base Blackwargreymon deck I've been working on, utilizing a lot of the new cards out of the Dragon of Courage starter deck. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. So starting off with the eggs, we're just going to be using 4 of the new Koromon from the starter deck. It just says, all turns once per turn, when an attack target is switched, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP until the end of the turn. We're doing a lot of attack switching between blocking and raiding and everything else. So in my opinion, this is just the best black Koromon we have currently, so I'm using 4 of it for now. On to the rookies, I'm rocking, of course, a full playset of the BT14 Agumon. This guy simply digivolves for 0 on a Koromon, but you can digivolve him for 1 if you want to try to mess with the memory gauge a little bit. But on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and a Tamer with Taikamiya in its name to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's a great searcher, and all turns, if it's Greymon or Omnimon in name, it gets plus 1000 DP. That's a great inheritable. Really helps that it's all turns for blocking and everything. And then we're playing 4 of the new Agumon from the starter deck that also digivolves for 0 on any Koromon, but at the start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon gain 1 memory, that's pretty nice, just gain some free memory. We don't really use that a whole lot, but we do use this inheritable a lot, which is all turns once per turn when an attack target is switched, gain a memory. So again, between blocking and raiding and everything, this guy can gain us a lot of memory. And of course, last but not least, we've got 4 of the Agumon X Antibody from BT11, the all black one. This one's a much better searcher than the old BT9 one. Main reason we're playing the black base is just to be able to get to play this guy. So on play or when digivolving, reveal the top 3, add 1 card with Greymon or X Antibody in its name, and a black Tamer among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, yada yada. So again, really good searching to get either a Greymon or an X Antibody option card and any black Tamer. So we're just playing a bunch of ties, so pretty much any of our ties. And then it also has this inheritable that the Greymon X has later on, that when this Digimon has a Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and it would be deleted or returned to the hand or deck by an effect, by placing 1 X Antibody from its Digivolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck, you can prevent it from leaving play. So it's just more protection for our stack, which is really nice to have. So for the level 4s, we've got 4 of the new starter deck Greymon, which of course can digivolve on any level 3 with Agumon in its name for only 2 costs. It has security effect, where you may play 1 Agumon or 1 Tamer with Taikamiya in its name from your hand or trash without paying its cost. When that comes up, it's great. I haven't seen it come up in security too often, unfortunately, but it is nice to have. But besides that, it's got blocker, and of course, it's got the same inheritable as the Agumon from the starter that all turns once per turn when a target is switched, gain a memory. So again, for our blocking and raiding and everything like that. So he's really nice. He does a lot, whether he comes up in security, or whether just having him on the field as a blocker, or just using him for that inheritable to gain more memory is also really great. And then we've got 3 of the BT12 Greymon. Also digivolves for 2 on any level 3 with Agumon in its name. And of course, when digivolving, if you don't already have a Tamer with Taikamiya in its name in play, you can play 1 from your hand without paying the cost. So that's really great. We have a lot of ties. This definitely comes up quite often. And then again, all turns, if it's Greymon or Omnimon in name, you get plus 1000 DP inheritable. So again, just making our blockers stronger and our attacks stronger. And then we're just playing 2 of the old Greymon X Antibody. Reason being is that it only digivolves on a red or a Greymon per 0. So most of the time you really want to be digivolving on one of these Greymons. If you absolutely have to, though, you can digivolve it on the BT12 Agumon. That's the main reason we're only playing 2 instead of 3 like we normally would. But then, of course, it has the inheritable where all turns, if this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name and an effect would delete it or return it to the hand or deck, you can trash 2 cards of the same level from its Digivolution cards to prevent it from leaving play. So it's just another form of protection, which is nice to have. And of course, last but not least, we have the 1 copy of Greymon X Antibody. And of course, we're only playing him at 1 because we can only play 1 of him. He is so good. We would definitely play 4 if we could. But he digivolves for 0 on a Greymon, And your turn, when he would digivolve into a card with Greymon in his name, reduce the cost by 1 for each color. So of course, when we digivolve into our red-black Metal Greymons, it reduces the cost by 2, which is great. And it has the same all turns inheritable effect as the Agumon X Antibody, so you can bottom deck an X Antibody to prevent it from leaving play, which is great. But that's going to do it for the level 4s. On to the level 5s. All right, so starting us off with the level 5 Metal Greymons here, we have the BT12 Metal Greymon, of course, the go-to that digivolves for 3 on a level 4 with Greymon in name. So when you digivolve it on the X Antibody, it only costs 1, which is awesome. He's got Raid, which of course allows you to switch his attack target to the highest DP unsuspended Digimon on your opponent's field. So that lets you trigger some of your effects to gain memory and gain 1000 DP from the egg, etc., etc. But then all turns, once per turn, when an attack target is switched, you may play a black or red Tamer with the play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. That's really awesome. So that's great when he raids. It's also all turns once per turn, so even if he were to block, and it's just when an attack target is switched, so he doesn't need to be the one to do it. If you have another one that's attacking or blocking or raiding, whatever, whenever that target's switched, even just for him being out, you can still, play that Tamer for free, which is awesome. And he also, of course, has the Your Turn inheritable that if its Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, it's got Piercing, which is really useful for a lot of reasons. Of course, just being able to, pierce through something, you're deleting something, you're controlling the board more, but also still getting those checks in is great. Then we've also got 1 copy of the old BT8 Metal Greymon. I still love this thing. I just like to play one of it at least to get that de-digivolve effect. Because when digivolving, you can de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, and then you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So if you de-digivolve it into like a rookie or something, then you can usually get rid of it. Or if they just have an annoying rookie there, you can de-digivolve a big threat and then pop the rookie, which is awesome. Either way, it's just a nice kind of tool in the toolbox just to kind of throw one of these in there. And then when this Digimon has Dragonkin or Machine in its traits, it can attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. So that way our level 6s can attack unsuspended without having to use Raid or anything, which is pretty nice for if we're getting a Blackwargreymon on top of him. And then we've also got 1 copy of the Metal Greymon Alteris mode, who digivolves for 0 on a Metal Greymon, which is what you're going to want to be digivolving him on mainly, but also its name is always treated as Metal Greymon, which is nice, so you can digivolve the X Antibody on top of him for the reduced costs. But it also has, when digivolving, if you have a Tamer in play, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5000 DP or less. That's great, just a little bit more removal. And you're pretty much always going to have a Tamer in play by the time you see this guy. And then he's also got the same alternates inheritable as the Greymon X Antibody, the all-red one, so that you can trash 2 same-level sources to prevent it from leaving play, which is great, and just more protection for our big stack. And last but not least, we've got 3 of the black and red Metal Greymon X Antibody that digivolves for 1 on a Metal Greymon, or for 4 normally. But he's got a great when digivolving effect that until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon can't have its DP reduced by your opponent's effects and isn't affected by de-digivolve effects. Then if it has Metal Greymon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. So again, you can get some, deletion off of that, but really just getting that protection from de-digivolve and from, DP reduction effects, especially right now, is so huge. There's just so much DP reduction around right now. You just really want that. So you really want to go into this guy, go into your level 6 if possible, and then start making some big plays, because you're not going to have your DP reduced by anything, and that is super useful. Then it also has this amazing inheritable opponent's turn once per turn. When a Digimon becomes unsuspended, if this Digimon is Greymon or Omnimon in its name, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So that's great for like rebooting and stuff. It's also great for our Blackwargreymon, because whenever he deletes something in battle, he can unsuspend. So if we give him blocker, then he's going to like delete something and unsuspend and trigger that. There's a lot of ways to get that to go off, and it's just great trashing your opponent's security on their turn. So I love doing that every time. But that's going to do it for our level 5s. All right, and now on to our level 6s. Starting us off here, we do have the BT8 Blackwargreymon. Digivolves for 4 when digivolving. If this Digimon has a red Digivolution card, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon. And if this Digimon has a black Digivolution card, choose any number of your opponent's Tamers. The chosen card's play cost must add up to 6 or less. Delete the chosen cards. So this dude's great. Tamer removal is the main thing. You really want to use this guy to delete 1 or 2 Tamers. But, you know, if you have to, you can delete a Digimon too. And then all turns, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, unsuspend this Digimon. So you could like attack with your level 5, go into him, you know, delete something from his effect and unsuspend if you really wanted to do it that way. But otherwise, you know, it's great with the piercing inheritable or the attacking and unsuspended inheritable. You know, you can have him attack whoever you want, unsuspend, and then attack again to check something. So he's really strong. We're playing 2 of him. Of course, also playing the big boss monster of the deck right here, 2 of Blackwargreymon X Antibody. He digivolves for only 2 on a Blackwargreymon, but he also digivolves for 5 normally, which, funny enough, we do a lot of just going straight into him for 5, because it does, you know, pay off. This dude is super overpowered. So first of all, he's got Reboot. Then opponent's turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon with the highest DP attacks, you may switch the target to this Digimon. So without even having to have blocker or anything, you can switch the highest DP attack to him. Opponent's turn, once per turn, when a Digimon becomes unsuspended. If this Digimon has Blackwargreymon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. So, you know, again, when he becomes unsuspended, you just get to pop any lowest play cost. And if they only have 1 Digimon out, that's the lowest play cost by default. So you can sometimes get rid of some pretty big stuff just with that. He's already 13k, so it's really easy to see this guy be like 15, 16 plus. And it's just like really, really hard for most decks to get over that. So he kind of just sits there as like this impenetrable wall, slowly eating away at your opponent's security. And with all the inheritables and stuff to protect him, there's not usually a lot they can do about it. And then last but not least, though, we are also playing 2 of the BT12 Wargreymon, who digivolves for 3 on a Metal Greymon. He's got Raid, so he can attack into the highest unsuspended DP Digimon. And when digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gets plus 3000 DP and gains a Reboot. And all turns, once per turn, when attack target is switched, unsuspend this Digimon. That's really great offensively and defensively, of course. You can attack, raid, you know, delete something, unsuspend because an attack target switched, and then just attack again. So he can potentially delete 2 things, and with the piercing inheritable, you know, he could still get 2 checks in that way pretty easy. Now, if you really wanted to keep this deck 100% Blackwargreymon only, you could drop the 2 of these guys for just 1 more of each of these, or you could throw in a couple Gaiomons or something else if you wanted to keep it purely Blackwargreymon. You could also drop them for a couple of the Wargreymon Ace if you wanted to spice it up with some of the Ace stuff. I tried that. I thought it would be pretty good. It actually doesn't really do much for the deck, as defensive as it already is and control-y as it already is. It surprisingly wasn't really helping out that much. So this guy's just really, really strong, the raid and everything. So that's why I prefer this one. And I don't actually run any level 7s. So let's move right along to the Tamers. So starting us off, I got 2 copies of the new Tai Kamiya from the starter deck. That start of your turn, if you have 2 memory or less, set it to 3, so he's our memory setter. But also all turns, when an attack target is switched, by suspending this Tamer, draw 1, and one of your Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. So that's great. You know, obviously you get to some draw power there, as well as plus 2000 DP whenever you raid or whenever you block something. So that coming up is pretty huge. It really helps out the strategy a lot, but not as much as the old BT12 Tai Kamiya, which we have 4 of. This dude is really the main focus of the deck, Tamer-wise. He really brings the whole strategy together. So start of your main phase or on play, one of your Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name gets plus 1000 DP and blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. This is the only way, like, our entire deck gets blocker is from this dude. You could play I think it's BT8 that gives blocker, but as an inheritable. But besides that, this dude is really the best way. So you definitely want to see it as quickly as possible, have it out as early as possible. That's why we're running 4 of him, because you definitely want to see him. Your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, by suspending this Tamer, gain a memory. That's also super useful. Lets us gain 1 memory every time we digivolve. And of course, if you have 2 or 3 of them out, you know, you're gaining a ton of memory back, basically free digivolutions every turn. Same thing with the Cool Boy, of course, only being a 2 cost to play him. And he of course has the on play to search the top 3 cards for your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with X antibody in its traits and 1 option card with X antibody in its traits among them to your hand, and then bottom deck the rest. And of course, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a same level Digimon with X antibody in its traits, you may suspend this Tamer to gain a memory and draw a card. So he's just doing so much for you. We're just playing 2 of him. You know, you just get one of those guys out and you're pretty much good. So between those 2, you have a ton of draw power and memory gain, and then a bunch more memory gain. So yeah, you really just want to be spamming out Tamers early game, mainly this tie, so you get the blocker going and everything. But that's going to do it for our Tamers. Let's take a look at the options. Okay, so ignore this. This is just a black memory boost, but I am kind of subbing it in for a second one of these. I just don't have a second defense training yet, but I am going to get one. So we're going to play 2 defense trainings. So reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, add 1 black card among them to your hand, and return the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. And of course, its delay effect. One of your Digimon may digivolve into a black Digimon card in your hand for its digivolution cost. When it digivolves by this effect, reduce the cost by 2. Of course, only a 2 cost to search 2 cards, add a black card, and then reduce the digivolution of our black cards is really great. Of course, everything in the deck is black, so makes it really easy. Like the only thing you can't search in this entire deck with this, well, almost everything in the deck is black. You can't search Cool Boy, you can't search the 2 all-red Greymon X antibodies, and you can't search the Alteris mode. So it's like 5 cards out of the whole 50-card deck you can't search, but still really, really useful card. Really helps to get to our ties faster. If you wanted to, you could up this to 3 and drop the ties to 3 if you wanted to see this a little more often. I just really like seeing the tie more than anything, so that's why I'm running the 4 ties. Of course, we have 1 Hades Force and also 1 Trident Arm. Now, I've been playing 1 of each of these. It's been working pretty well for me. You could, you know, drop 1 of either to bump the other up to 2, depending on your preference, but I kind of just like the 1 and 1 of. It's been doing pretty well for me. So, of course, with the Hades Force, when you play this card, if you have a Digimon with X antibody in its Digivolution cards, you can reduce the cost by 2, so it's only 5. And then you get to choose any number of your opponent's Digimon and or Tamers whose combined play cost is less than or equal to the play cost of one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name. Delete the chosen cards, and then one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name can attack a player. Security, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. So pretty great security, and also just really good Tamer removal, you know, to go with our Blackwargreymon. I really like Trident Arm as well, however. Now it is a 6 cost, but it de-digivolves 3 on one of your opponent's Digimon. Then until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gains start of your main phase. This Digimon attacks. So before they even have the chance to digivolve it or do anything, it just has to attack. So pretty much it's probably going to be a rookie at that point, and it's gonna be forced to attack into one of your blockers. You could just block it, get rid of it. And with all the effects we have, you know, when attack target switch to like gain DP, draw a card, gain memory. You know, if you got Agumon and Greymon under something, you could gain 2 memory just off them attacking you, which kind of helps the cost of this being so high. But also security, de-digivolve 3, one of your opponent's Digimon. So again, just a really strong security effect to de-digivolve something. And yeah, I really like both of those. They help with different types of threats. And then of course, 2 of the X antibody option. You got to have it for some of our protection effects. You know, slide that from under it in bottom deck it, and you get to protect them from something. Otherwise, just having it for that when attacking effect to digivolve into an X antibody is also really strong, because you know you can kind of cheat out your level 6 If you don't have 5 memory to pay for him right away, you just attack with your level 5 and use that when attacking to go straight into the Blackwargreymon X Antibody. So that can be really strong, but yeah, that's going to do it for the options. All right, you guys, so that is the deck profile. This deck is very control-y, very defensive. So if you're into that type of play style, I would highly recommend checking it out. I will say the games with this get pretty long and grindy. Because you're kind of just sitting there slowly burning them for like 1 security a turn with your big boss monster, and they're just doing their best to try to work around him. You know, there's not really much you can do. You keep digivolving them, keep deleting stuff. You know, you just keep attacking over them and everything. So it's really control-y, like I said. You just try to keep the board clear as much as possible. You have a ton of blockers set up, so they can't really get many attacks through, if any. And yeah, it's a pretty strong deck, though. It can't be funny when they attack into you and you block and you have a few of those Agumons or Greymons under some of your Digimon, and you gain like 2 or 3 memory and just end their turn right away off of them trying to attack you. And, you know, that could be pretty rough. So it's really cool. I like it a lot. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the deck profile, don't forget to smash that like button. It does help me out a lot. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.